Good evening and welcome to tonight's Facebook Live. My name is Nancy Abdu. I am the CEO and founder of the Australian Dermal and Australian Laser Institute, where we bring you a broad spectrum of training, including IPL, laser hair removal and laser tattoo removal, needling, plasma fibroblasting, epiblading, and so much more. Tonight, I want to talk to you and discuss with you the importance of continual education and, in particular, micro-accreditation. But before I begin, let's wait for a few more of you to pop on over here. And if you're joining me, please feel free to say hello in the comments box. And if you haven't already in the previous past, actually, please click on the link here so I can see who is talking with me. All right. So, how's everyone's weekend? I think I'm starting to sort of enjoy having won the Best Educator, the Australian Beauty Industry Awards last week. It's been 8 days now, and now I'm sort of coming to terms with it, and I'm still super excited. And very grateful that, I was, I suppose, nominated and was the finalist. Not finalist, winner. Oh, my God. Anyway, I've just realised that I have the wrong camera on, but that's okay. All good. So I want to discuss, like I said, with you, micro accreditation or micro certification. So some of you, or most of you, are well aware of normal, accredited courses, ranging from your Diploma of Beauty Therapy or Health Science right through to the Dermal Sciences degree. Now, somewhere in there might be little bits of information or new information that may not have been taught. And so you might be thinking, I feel a little bit left out and I want to know a little bit more about X, fill in the gap, whatever it might be. It could be plasma fibroblasting, it could be epiblading, it could be advanced needling protocols, whatever it might be, or even advanced IPL, actually. That's a good one. And you might be thinking, well, what do I do to upskill or to even just to start learning about it? Maybe even you're new to the industry and you actually don't know about a particular topic, and you want to familiarize yourself with it before you actually go and, possibly do your dermal therapies course or whatever other, course there is out in the industry. So, and this is where micro accreditation is amazing, because it's a great way to introduce yourself or your team, or to even just upskill yourself or your team to a particular module without having to undergo, whether it be 18 months or 3 years of formal studies. And this is where we come in, into play, where the Australian Dermal and Laser Institute really, I suppose, stands out, because we offer something called micro accreditation or micro certification, where basically it is bite-sized education, and we are able to tailor, I suppose, your learning style and your needs to what we're actually teaching. So when you come and you do some learning with us, I'm able to ask you what your devices are. So you might have 4 or 5 other devices. You may not even be using them to the fullest potential. And we're actually able to teach you not only how to use a particular device, but how to use it in combination with other devices. So layering and combining modalities and treatments in order to not only get superior results, but to also, be able to push the boundaries safely and have the confidence in doing so. I mean, how many of you here have got a particular device? Just let me know in the comments box there. How many of you there have a device and you actually don't know how to manipulate the settings, or you don't know how to push the boundaries, or you don't know how to combine it, or you just don't have the confidence? And if that's you, if you've answered, or if you've said, that's me to any of those questions there, then this is where the Australian Dermal and Laser Institute can help you with, like I said, bite-sized little chunks of modules that specifically hone in on one particular device or a whole spectrum of devices. So we're able to offer that to you. Now, the other thing is with ongoing and continual education, that's actually a really big part of your journey, of your career journey. And it's what sets you apart. So there's one thing, and that's going to, you know, whether it's uni or TAFE or beauty school, whatever it might be, and having your formal qualification. And I think that's really, really important. But there's also something to be said for continuing your knowledge and updating, you know, protocols and procedures. And that's what really does set you and your competitors, I suppose, or your colleagues. Let's not even call them competitors. It's probably the wrong word. But let's call them your colleagues. That's what's going to set you apart. And just knowing not just the settings that are in front of you, but how to manipulate the settings. If you know how a particular device works, the science behind it, then you know how to actually manipulate it. And so if you're wanting to get a little bit more out of that machine, that's where, or the device or whatever it is you're actually doing, if you're wanting to get more out of that, then you need to dig a little bit deeper and maybe, you know, either educate yourself, or if you're time poor, then possibly get someone in, like myself, to actually help you navigate on how to get the best out of that machine, how to set yourself apart from the rest of the other therapists. I remember one of my clinics in Ivanhoe, we had, I think there was like something like 8 beauty salons and clinics in our main street, so Upper Heidelberg Road. And yet we were the ones that were one of the most expensive clinics, but one of the most, the busiest clinics in the street. And the reason is because we were always offering training and education to all of our team members. And that's really important, to continuously update, upskill your knowledge and your capabilities and your skill set. So if there's something that you're thinking, I'm not too sure about it, you know, let me know in the comments box. I'm more than happy to share my information, or if you're wondering or curious about a particular course, please also, you know, maybe let me know, and we can help you navigate whether micro accreditation is the right thing for you, or if you need something more than that, then we can refer you on to one of our training partners, whether it's Ali Lucas or whether it's the Australasian College of Health or Wellness, or even Vic Uni. So, you know, there's a place and, I suppose, a time for everything, and we're able to navigate those options with you and for you. I actually wrote an article that's about to be published very soon in Beauty Biz, and it's, the exact title is The Importance of Micro Accreditation in the Aesthetics Industry. So you'll find a lot more information you know, on why it's important. But what I might do is quickly touch up on some of the other reasons why micro accreditation is important, I believe. Let me just bring that up. All right, so I talked about, you know, the accreditation, formal recognised accreditation by either TAFEs or universities or other RTOs, registered training organisations. The other type of training there is device training. And as a device trainer, as well as, you know, a bespoke trainer too, I know when I deliver device training, I'm just delivering basically device familiarization. I might teach a little bit more on how to manipulate the settings, but it's really, really, it's stock standard, it's quite basic, and you know, we're not here to teach you how to push the boundaries. As a device trainer for, manufacturer, I pretty much show you how to use that device within the parameters. But with your micro accreditation, we teach you a little bit more. We also teach you, you know, how to use that device, what we call off-label. So not for its intended purpose. So for example, you might have an IPL and technically you can't actually remove white or red hairs with an IPL with your 600 and 700 nanometer filters. So you might have a 640, a 690, a 750 or so forth, and you don't know how to remove white or red hair. Well, I'll be able to teach you, or I can teach you, how to remove those hairs using your 500 filters. So 540, 560 and so forth. So that's something that manufacturers don't normally teach. But when you're doing advanced IPL with me, then that's something I can teach you. Or, for example, you might only have a device that can do, say, hair removal, for example, or SHR. I can then also go and teach you off-label how to use that device with heating up the derma. So forget hair removal for a second. Even though its intended purpose is for hair removal, I can actually go and teach you how to use it for collagen induction, and also, you know, to use it with other devices such as radio frequency or needling or microdermabrasion or epiblading. So it's about combining the modalities to be able to push those boundaries and get more for, you know, that client's money. So they're able to get a better result, an enhanced result, but doing it still safely. That's always the most important thing, is pushing boundaries and being able to do it safely. The other thing is, you know, clients are becoming really savvy. So, you know, all they have to do is go on Dr. Google and the next thing they know everything. Who has one of those clients? I think we all know at least one that, you know, they've read something on Facebook or they've seen it on Instagram and then they want that. They think they're becoming really savvy, but we need to be savvier. We need to make sure we're appropriately and correctly educated. So when a client does come with us and says, hey, on Facebook I've seen XYZ, we can actually either correct them or we can actually then perform that treatment, but safely and with some kind of, I suppose, certification, even if it is just that micro accreditation. So there's a number of reasons why obviously it's important to keep upskilling and you know, making sure that your knowledge, protocols, procedures are always, you know, at a particular level. I mean, with that also comes trust. Clients start to trust you more. They can see that, you know, education is really important to you. And so that also means, you know, your client retention is so much more better. Now, speaking of client retention, it's harder to get a new client. So why not retain your existing clients in you know, showing them your knowledge and showing them that we can offer them more, rather than always trying to get a new client. It costs less to retain, but to get a new client, it actually ends up costing you more. And in addition to that, there's something that I call the skin journey. And so for me, the skin journey is really important because it's not just about getting a client coming in on the bed, you know, we do the treatment, they're in, they're out, and we move on to the next client. It shouldn't work like that. The way it should work, and good training will provide this to you, is we start off with amazing skin prepping with a cosmeceutical, so actives, whether it be vitamin A. And you all should know what vitamin A does. So, you know, it helps with damaged, you know, your DNA. It's an antioxidant. And we say antioxidants are really important because we're creating inflammation in the skin. Remember that. I think this is often forgotten about. When we create inflammation in the skin, what else are we creating? Free radicals. And so whilst we're trying to, you know, induce collagen and elastin and all of these amazing things in the skin, you know, glycosaminoglycans and so forth, growth factors, we're also, I suppose, creating inflammation, which then we've got free radicals. So we need to fight the free radicals. So antioxidants are really important, and vitamin A is one of those, so is vitamin C. So making sure you know, that they're on good skincare, that they're prepping between 2 to 4 weeks beforehand, and making sure that, you know, you're LEDing the person beforehand, preferably with 633 nanometers. So when they're prepping for the 2-week period, 2 to 4 week period, they're also coming in for their LEDs. Now that builds rapport. And once you start building rapport with the client, and the more often a client comes and sees you, the more often, or the less likely rather, the less likely they're going to go to another clinic. So that's going to be important, building rapport. So that skin journey strengthens that partnership between you and that client. So that's part of the skin journey. And then we can start maybe look at needling, where we're optimizing the skin's functionality. And like I mentioned last week, it's going to help increase interleukin-10, which is great for inflammation, and it's going to help with transforming epidermal growth factor beta-3, which is required for that type 1 collagen. So, part of that, like I said, we've got now 3 things. We've got our skincare, we've got our LED, we've got our needling. Now I can do my IPL rejuvenation, or now I can do laser genesis, or now I can do my plasma fibroblasting, or whatever other traumatic treatment or inflammatory treatment that I'm going to do to the skin, and take them on that journey with you. So it's not a quick, okay, like I said, in and out. It's a journey. And if we're holding our client's hand along that journey, it means they're not going to be they're not going to let go of your hand easily. They're not going to go and find the therapist across the street or the next Groupon. Oh my God, that kills me. Like, how many clients have you got or have you seen that have said, but I can get it half price off Groupon? Why? Why is Groupon so cheap? So it's all about acquiring that client, but can they keep the client? When you create the skin journey with your client, you're more likely to keep them. Let me have a quick look at your comments. Hey, Rachel, how you going? Christina, hi, I have a sonophoresis that I don't use. Well, so with sonophoresis, basically we're using ultrasound, usually 26,000 hertz, so 26,000 vibrations. So it is ultrasound, and you can then incorporate that with, some of your other skin treatments, such as microdermabrasion, or you can use that for a gentle peel. You can use that to infuse serums. You can use that for a deep cleanse. There's so many different uses, and you'll be able to use that with other devices, and you can then combine those devices. So Christina, if you have one of ours and you're not sure how to use it, make sure you contact Nikki, and she'll be able to send you out an information form, or sheet rather, and the video on how to use it. How are we going for time? Oh, 10 more minutes left. All right. I don't understand the settings. All right. So speak to Nikki and she'll be able to go through that with you tomorrow. What else? We've got here the science behind the technology. I've mentioned how the device actually interacts with the skin. That's really important. So in micro certification or micro accreditation or any of the training that we do, we'll be able to actually teach you how the device interacts with the skin on a scientific level. What else? Using advanced settings and safely pushing the boundaries. I've already mentioned that. Combining and layering, I've mentioned that. Providing excellent consultations. I haven't mentioned that yet. So any good accreditation will go through consultations. And with consultation, a number of things, you go through their medical history, contraindications, their medication, their diet. Diet's really important. Diet, lifestyle, supplementation. So all of these things you usually will learn in your consultation part or section when you're doing micro accreditation or any education and training. And we've already spoken about effective skin prepping too, and the skin journey. So they're all things that, when we're teaching you, you'll be learning about. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about that article that I've written, have a look at next month's Beauty Biz issue. Thank you, Claire, so much for giving me the opportunity to write an article in there. So kind. Every 2 months I do write an article, so in the dermal section. So if you want to read more, please either hop on you've got the digital, and you have the actual magazine itself if you're wanting to get that sent out to you. So there's so much more information in the article, and hopefully that has given you a little bit of insight as to what we teach exactly. Some of our courses only run for 1 day, some run for 2, depending what you're learning. And there's also, of course, the pre-learning module, which is online, and that covers a refresher of your basic anatomy, skin anatomy and physiology, just to refresh your memory. You may have I don't know, gone to TAFE many years ago and you need a refresher. So that's also part of our courses too. So hopefully that's given you great insight. I will let you go. If you don't have any other questions, I will bid you farewell. It's been a very long day. My days seem to be getting longer. So we'll see. I might do one more live this year in December. But I definitely will be running a webinar. So if I don't see you over the next few Mondays, join me for my webinar. I will send out an invitation on Facebook and on Instagram, so you all will know about it. And it's one not to miss. All right, have an amazing evening, everyone, and have a great week. Good night. Bye.